Hi, welcome. My name is Zilani. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and a breakthrough life coach with over 11 years experience with a specialism in change and transition. So I help Black women to navigate those major life changes that we all go through, particularly moving abroad. First of all, can I ask you to like, share, and subscribe if you like the content, hit the buttons, helps the channel to grow. And I'm very grateful. Second of all, I'd like to send a massive, massive shout out to Stephanie Perry. She recently did a video which featured myself and some other new and upcoming YouTubers, and it was fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. There were thousands of people watching. And from that, we had a complete surge in followers. It was phenomenal. But unfortunately, what has happened is because we had a massive spike in our following, YouTube assumed that we had acquired these followers in a dodgy manner and removed all of the followers from our channel, from our channels. And that was myself and I think pretty much everybody who was on that, which is really unfortunate and frustrating. We're trying to get YouTube to reinstate all the followers that it's taken away, but who knows where that's going to end. So can I please ask that you just check your subscription to my channel and to any of the other channels that you may have decided to follow off the back of that Stephanie Perry video. I'm going to include a link to the video in my description. So if you need to reference there again, you can just click on there. It's unfortunate, it's really frustrating, but it's just one of those things that we can't really do much about at the moment. Let's get down to the content. So this video is about the ways in which we could be sabotaging our own move abroad. And I'm not talking about intentionally sabotaging our dreams. We spend weeks, months, years planning our move abroad. And a lot of work goes into it. We uproot our entire lives, we change our jobs, we sort out our finances, get ourselves out of debt, uproot our children from school, or you move around our families, sell our homes, invest our savings, all sorts of things to prepare for our move abroad. And I know it's something that we don't take lightly. But the way that I'm talking about sabotaging our journeys is the inner unconscious stuff that could be at play when we arrive in our new countries that can lead us to return home or to just not do well in our new countries. Anne from My Priority Life, another YouTuber, and she's a seasoned traveler. In fact, I would term her a nomad. She likens the process of moving abroad to that of rehab. And I tell you what, I could not agree more. They are so similar. So if you know anyone who has been in rehab, or indeed if you've been in rehab yourself, you know that usually it's when people get to the point where they're living lives that are so dysfunctional, really unhelpful, that they need to be completely removed from them. And they go into rehab, which is like almost like a sterile environment where all of these things that were causing them harm are removed. And that's just like moving abroad. So we know, as I explained in the video with Stephanie Perry, that we're coming from toxic jobs, right? Most of us. Sometimes we're coming from families that are neglectful, abusive, or there's generational trauma. Sometimes we have our own traumas. We're mistreated by society. And sometimes the countries that we're in are actually physically harmful to us. And when we go abroad, we go through this process of being completely removed from all of that stuff. And all of a sudden, we're placed in a situation where the harshness is gone. The hard edges are no longer there. We're doing well. We're treated well. Our blacklist is not seen as the other. We're not seen as threatening. We're not followed around stores. All of a sudden, life is better. And that's great, right? Well, yes, but there's more to the story. So when someone's in rehab, what starts to happen is all of the ways that they were desensitized to life beforehand starts to leave. In my previous video, I spoke about how most Black women are in a hyper-aroused state of fight or flight consistently. Our cortisol levels are through the roof and we're always hypervigilant and hyper-aroused. When we get to our new countries, our levels start to come down and we start to normalize and regulate. Our defenses come down. Essentially, what happens is our heart starts to open, right? And we start to engage with people and have positive experiences. And that is wonderful. But if you know anyone who's been to rehab, you know there's a point that comes where they start to feel again. With the lowering down of the defenses, with all the things that were numbing them and keeping them disconnected from their internal selves starts to dissipate, the feelings come. Old stuff from the past starts to come up again. Our bodies and our minds and our unconscious starts to think, oh, great, we're in a place now where we can start to process things. Let me give you all the stuff to process. That's great, right? Well, if you're in rehab, you are in an environment where you have therapists, counselors, where you have specialists around you that can help you to process those feelings. They can help you to work through all of that stuff that comes up. And even then, we know so many people relapse, right? So think about this. If moving abroad is like rehab, then when you move abroad, there will also come a point where your guard comes down, where your system starts to regulate, where your cortisol levels drop. You're no longer hyper-aroused and hyper-vigilant, and you start to feel again. And this is great, right? Well, maybe not so much, because often when we travel, we are traveling on our own, or we are the responsible person. If we're traveling with, kids or whatever, we don't have a support network. We're removed from all of our support networks back home, the people that love and care about us, the people that can provide us with help. We don't know the lay of the land. We don't know the medical systems. And quite often it can be really difficult to access help and support. So having all of this stuff come up where we probably need a professional to help us deal with it, but yet there's no access to services. There's no support network around us. Yet sometimes we're left in really vulnerable situations while we're abroad. And that can be quite dangerous. So when we're abroad, we have this fantastic honeymoon period. I know I've felt it numerous times when I've been abroad. That time when you get off the plane and if you're in a hot country, that when the doors open on the plane and you feel the heat, right? And you smell the smells, and you might go and you eat some food, or you get into your hotel or your accommodation or whatever, and you are just like, yes, life is good. You might go to the beach, you go to your excursions, or whatever you do when you're traveling, right? And you have this fantastic honeymoon period, and it's beautiful. Life is good. You're treated well. And then that process happens where we start to feel. And when we start to feel, we look around and we're on our own. There's no one there. It can be a really scary situation. I think we all know, if anyone watching this is a seasoned traveler or has lived abroad before or spent extended times abroad, chances are at the very least one, probably many more expats or whatever you want to call them, that has just not coped in their new environment. For whatever reason, it's just not worked out for them. I know numerous people who have moved abroad, great intentions, but it just all fell apart, because when that feeling starts to happen and all of that stuff, your system is like, it's time to deal with this stuff now, it's time to deal with this stuff now, and you're caught unawares and unprepared for that stuff, it can hit you like a ton of bricks. And now I don't want to scaremonger anyone. I don't want anyone to feel like, okay, I shouldn't move abroad because actually I'm not ready for that stuff to come up. I really don't want to scare you into that, okay? Because some people do well. Some people go abroad and they're fine. But there are also a lot of people who unfortunately do struggle. So what's the best way to try to alleviate or to try to reduce the likelihood of that happening when you reach a new country? Well, no shortcuts. But the best way to do that is to consciously, intentionally start to do the healing work before we even come close to setting foot abroad. And sometimes that's scary to even think about doing. Why on earth would I go to therapy and judge up all of my deep, dark, horrible days from the past? No, thank you. I just want to go and sit on a beach somewhere. I'll be fine. Sometimes the healing work can be pleasant. Sometimes the healing work isn't so pleasant, right? But if we get abroad and we know this stuff is going to come up for us, wouldn't it be best to prepare for it as far in advance as possible, in an intentional way, where we have support networks around us, where we can access services and where we can access support? I think this is something that we really need to think about, because we can put all of the things in place to move abroad and have the best move abroad that we possibly can, right? We can, like I say, plan the finances, plan the trips, plan the excursion, book the perfect accommodation, tap into the best community ever. But as Stephanie Perry said when we were speaking in her video, wherever I go, I am, or however she worded it. You take you wherever you go. And sometimes when stuff comes up for us, it's letting us know, hey, this stuff needs to be worked on. Now, there are services out there that can help you to do that, professionals like myself that can help you to work through some of this stuff. It doesn't have to be a big, bad, scary wolf, but just think of the life that you could create for yourself if we at least begin to do this healing work. If we begin to go there in a conscious, intentional way, we could really, and I mean really, live lives where we are thriving. I don't want to have to do all of that work of planning my move abroad, as I am in the process of. Me and my daughter are moving abroad very soon to go to Latin America. I don't want to be putting in all the work that I'm doing now to get to the other side and be like, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do this, and I have to come back. I don't want to engage in that process. I want to put us in the best possible position so that we thrive. And let me tell you something. Healing is sexy. Don't let anybody fool you about that. There is nothing sexier than a healed person going about their life, living free. It's beautiful. That's what this is all about. We get so caught up about soft life, right? Being this set of circumstances that we create. Soft life is treating ourselves well. Soft life is having access to nice stuff. Soft life is not working in an exhausting job. Soft life is you add on what you want to add on. But what soft life is a process that starts here, internally. There's no way that we can create a life outside where we are truly, and I mean truly thriving, without having done the work internally before. How do I know? Listen, I have been there. I have had times where I have traveled in my early days when I first started traveling, and I wasn't prepared for it. I just thought, let me just go. I'll be fine. And all of a sudden, I was hit like a ton of bricks with myself. You meet so many people abroad, so many different people from different walks of life that you will never usually encounter in your lives back home. But the most important person that you meet when you go abroad is yourself. Let that meeting be a glorious one. I'm curious. I'd like to know how you're planning your move abroad. Have you started to engage in this work? Have you done any preparation emotionally for your move abroad? If so, what has that looked like? What has that process involved? If you have any questions, drop them in the comments box. If you'd like any clarification about anything, let me know. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And again, check your subscription for my video, for my channel, and all of the other people that were featured on Stephanie Perry's video to make sure that you're still subscribed. And lastly, but not least, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your views and support. My name is Zilani, licensed psychotherapist and breakthrough life coach. Thank you for watching.